get into it, Jorge.
Sure.
So we've been gone for a minute, and we've been talking a lot in the past about Canelo Alvarez trying to be undisputed super middleweight champion. And so it looks like it's finally coming to fruition since this month we've been off here, because he's almost close to a done deal with Canelo Plant. It's going to be September 18th. So normally does it on Mexican Independence Weekend, but it's going to be a little bit of a week off, quite a month of working in that aspect. It's going to be on Fox pay-per-view. So it's going to be a one-fight deal. So what do you think about Canelo finally, going ahead and get this fight done with Canelo Plant and possibly going to have an undisputed 168 champion, Jorge?
Oh, going to be exciting. I'm hoping Caleb is healed from his was it like a hand injury that he had the last time he had the fight.
Oh yeah.
So I'm hoping that was against Caleb Trump. So hopefully that everything is healed on that front, and then we get a decent, good fight. I'm hoping a good performance from Caleb, and hopefully one's going to make history. I mean, right now the favorite is going to be Canelo by a lot. So Caleb's going to have a lot of work on his hands that fight to basically pull off an upset, because that would definitely surprise me if he won.
Yeah, one thing that was coming up on a lot of the blogs and all the different sites, how the fight, we was wondering when this fight's going to be announced, because we're already over the halfway part in July here. So the fight's in September. So you got August, September. So when is this fight going to happen, or is he going to happen? Because at one point they were bringing out how Al Haymon went in a 3-fight deal. And of course you can understand why Al Haymon would want that, because Canelo Alvarez, he's the biggest fighter in the sport right now, from a financial standpoint, from a visual standpoint, from the crowds whatsoever. You want the biggest guy in here. And of course you worked with him a long time ago when he was under Golden Boy banner and Al Haymon was doing his little thing. They moved everybody over to Showtime. So they were trying to do a 3-fight deal. And at the same time too, Caleb Plant recognized him being the B-side. It's like, hey, I got some value here. I don't going to take like 1 or 2 million here. You're trying to be undisputed, so I got a belt that you want, and you're running out of time. So at one point, Canelo's team had leaks that, we'll fight Triple G. And Triple G, had just signed a fight for around New Year's for a unification fight at middleweight. And he was like, I'm ready. I've been waiting for this fight for 3 years. And then that was a smoke screen. You know how that goes.
Of course, yeah. No, it's a negotiating bully, basically. All the smart players out in baseball, the NFL, NBA, they, throw little feelers out there, trying to add some negotiating pressure to try to get the things the way you want it.
Yeah.
So up his value, and it was the right thing to do. And God bless him. I believe you got $10 million for this fight.
They're saying close to it, and that's mainly because DAZN really kind of screwed up the game, because when Canelo got in there, they're overpaying boxers just to get on the platform.
Sure.
They're new entities. So Eddie Hearn's just out here just rolling out the dough, And so you literally had the last 3 fights were on DAZN, and they all made it roughly around like $7 or $8 million each. Like Danny Jacobs got close to, I think his guarantee like $8 million. At the end of the day, they collected close to like 12 or 13 million for that fight. So you got these B-sides making 8 figures, against Canelo, when normally like Floyd, you get 2 or 3 million. You know how he worked it out. It's like, nah, just be lucky you getting that and the exposure. Like Medina got like 8 million total for both fights.
Yeah, I think for Mayweather that 8 million is probably about right? But I think for this undisputed, actually this has been the year of the undisputed. I mean, this is about the 4th or 5th match this year. It'll be for an undisputed title. So
yeah,
the B side, Caleb's not dumb. He said, you know what, I got some leverage here, right? I mean, he's gonna get the primary, I get the A side, but I got a belt that he needs. So it's my chance to get some more money than most guys would get on the B side, and it worked to his advantage.
And on top of that too, those 2 last minutes to try to get somebody in here, especially with the fact that if he doesn't get this fight now, the sanction bias probably would have kicked in and said, you got to do this one next. And then, you can't really do a undisputed or unification, because then once that rabbit hole goes down, then the next belt holder, the next sanction bias, like, well, you got to come up next now. So like it has to happen now, and you got to collect all the belts when you have that window. Otherwise, mandatory comes, and then one belt's got to go.
Exactly.
When you get them all, then you can figure it out. But once that window's gone, it's a wrap here.
Yeah, he's been setting up a mandatory before he actually gets another chance to get this undisputed title together.
So Haymon didn't. They try to push for a 3-fight deal, but ended up just being a 1-fight deal. They're saying right now it could be more than that, because Canelo is really trying to keep his independence. I don't blame him. Like, of course, he probably still had that sour taste in his mouth losing the 11-fight, $365 million contract that Oscar bumbled from him. So of course he's going to do on a fight-by-fight to secure the highest payday per fight, and then be able to have the leverage and flexibility to fight wherever he wants to. He's been on DAZN. the last 3 fights. Now he goes on Fox, PBC here. And the way this looks here, like when you look at the zones covered, they don't have too many more fighters for him to fight like big time, like mega fights. Now, Al Heyman has the next fighters for like the next year or so to do that. So that could be Canelo just saying, hey, I'm not going to be tied down. Let's do this one fight. And then from there, let's look at Jamal Charlo, maybe in December or Cinco de Mayo next year, Let's look at your boy Berlanga. I'm not saying now, but, he's in the picture.
Sure.
Let's look at, what's his name? Benavidez. These are guys that's clearly 3 guys that even if we thought that Berlanga was too young right now or not ready yet, you clearly got 3 guys that you can solo fight for Canelo right now. And then of course with Caleb Plant, you got 4 right now. So I can see why he wanted a 3-fight deal if you take Berlanga out of it, But I'm excited to see it. Maybe we can go to this fight, because we're gonna segue because we're not gonna be watching a fight in Vegas this week.
We would love to watch a fight in Vegas this weekend, but COVID things happen, and again, it still amazes me, right? This is the second boxer now, and I'm surprised with Tyson. Come on, man! You should have got that second dose, man. This is
real fast, people. We're talking about Canelo on September 18th, so now we're talking about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 3. We were really geeked for it. Like first was like, oh my god, they're running it back because Wilder won his lawsuit. Yeah. And then we started on the show before our little hiatus was like we talked ourselves into it. Then it was like at the end of the day, Wilder has the one-hitter quitter eraser. Tyson Fury is the champ. It's a heavyweight title fight. We're going to Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
And then about a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
Tyson Fury got the one shot. He obviously he's taking the Pfizer joint, but he got the one, but he didn't get the second joint. And we're recording this on a Tuesday, and I was supposed to be flying out on a Thursday, and I canceled my flight, guys, because there's no fight. I'm not going. Here's the thing, too, fight fans. I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago, and it is a freaking 114 degrees in Vegas. I'm sorry, Jorge. There ain't no fight in Vegas. If it's 114 degrees, can't do it. I'm done. Stay in my black ass at home.
I will go on this trip regardless, though. But at some point, look, I would say I was annoyed, mildly annoyed. I think we barely ever talked about it, but I would imagine our discussion would have been pretty much the same right now. I think we would have just both been pissed because it was one of those things we weren't planning. It was no idea that the fight would be scheduled for that weekend.